Hello, Deep Mindfulness Collective. This, right here, right now. It's the joy of being a live stream coming to you live from Brooklyn, New York. Folks, lovely to be here with you as always. And as always, I want to know 2 fun facts. Where are you at? What are you grateful for? I want to know right now. Brooklyn, New York. And what am I grateful for? Where's the no, it's not there. Okay. What am I grateful for? Going on a big trip starting tomorrow, which is just a reminder, no stream all next week. No stream all next week. However, there will be a stream. I just lied. It's going to be replay streams all next week. Next week is our bonus replay week. Indeed. Folks, love to be here with you as always. I can't get the framing right. Okay, good. Excuse me. I'm well. Willow's at the doctor's. I'm headed to California, Portland to California, then New York City. And what else? Yeah, so things are good. Ready to meditate. It's got to be a somewhat shorter thingy today, stream. So hit me with what kind of meditation do you want to do? And I like doing Franken meditations where people give me weird things and I try to put them together into one meditation. Although it can sometimes turn into a thing like whenever, when the only tool you have is a hammer. But I have certain tools that I'm like, this is what I would use for this or that. So I end up doing a kind of awareness meditation because that's what I think would work for this or that. But I like to play it like jazz. Each time we even do the same meditation, it's a little different. So hopefully that is a lot of fun. Okay, Cat Letterbox here from Switzerland. Rain, snow after a long period of dry weather. Great. Grateful for rain and snow. That is interesting. Okay, I can imagine that being the case. Reno, Nevada, Joanna Wise, grateful for living in a safe and loving environment. Wow, that is a good one. Killer, good job. That is a really good one to be grateful for, and that I'm grateful for as well. Alex is here with us. Excellent. Wait, you're in Portland? I'm going to Portland. That's one of the places I'm going. Tell me where I should get, I don't know, what neighborhood is good to Airbnb in. Patience and kindness. Excellent. I'm actually going to look at the retreat center, and then I'm going to, guide a process in Portland. And then I'm out. So, there we are. Okay, folks, what else? What's happening? Where are folks at? What are you grateful for? And what do you want to do for meditation? Or maybe what life challenges are arising for you? And we'll build a meditation for that. Or you can name specific kinds of meditation that you want to do or explore, that kind of thing. Oh, this is a note for Naz. In the replay of the last class recording, will you tell me the time code where we do the guided meditation and the beginning and end of that? I need to remember that. I forgot to mention that. I want to pull that out and make an audio of that. Aaron from Indiana, grateful for my cats. Great. You're I love that. I know that in they worship cows in Indiana, but I didn't know that people were as excited about cats. Okay, folks, we're going to meditate here for 25 minutes. And thank you. And I'm going to encourage you to keep your body relatively still. If you feel like there's emotion or something that needs to move in the body, feel free to pass that along. Let the stretch occur. But just make sure you don't do any of that unintentionally. Woof. I think my neck might be finally fixed. It's been throughout it's still got work to do. Throughout the first year of the pandemic, I was like sitting in a funny position, just sort of like flat chair at the computer, more sedentary than I was used to being. And then at some point my neck was like, nope. And it's been like a year at least or more since it's been messed up. Oh, also, folks, here's a warning. My dog is at the vet. It was supposed to be done by like a while ago. They're definitely going to call me during the meditation. This is like a guarantee, because as soon as, right in the most important part, that's when they're going to decide to call. There's no chance they would wait till the end. So I have to keep my ringer on, and I have to keep the, what was I going to say, the alerts on. So you will hear in the meditation a phone ring, and you will actually hear me pause my audio. And so just keep meditating. Whatever was the last instruction I gave, keep going with that, and I'll be back with you in like 60 seconds or a minute or whatever. I just have to get some information from them, and then we'll go from there. But I guarantee that they will interrupt the meditation probably as soon as it starts. Whatever would be the most disruptive, that's what's going to happen. So no one yet has told me what they want to do for a meditation. I assume nobody has any challenges in their life or any interest in meditation. So I'm not sure why you're even here. I'm just kidding. Yeah, so what is interesting? What kind of meditations are interesting? What are you interested in? There was another stream where somebody kept bringing up, I want to do manifesting. I want to do manifesting. And I was like, oh, come on, manifesting. Like, it's so cheesy, whatever. And we did it in a way I thought was like really interesting. So it was fun. So tell me, what kind of meditations do you want to do? What are you interested in? And then that's what we'll do here today. It being Freaky Friday. Yeah. Either that or we could just watch cat videos. No challenge, but maybe a microcosm meditation as content of deity. Meditation as a contrast to deity yoga. Microcosm. Oh. That we are super tiny? I wonder about that. Like, if you assess your scale as being infinitely small compared to the universe. Yeah, that's interesting, because we usually experience the universe as being infinitely large. It's like so big, and we're trying to like stretch the mind out, and it's like so. And the opposite case would be to make our self body tinier. I'm trying to think, because thematically, what does that mean? It's like, yeah, you could do that with meditation, but it's an interesting way to cut through a sense of our space as being ourselves. Hey, thanks for subscribing, Just Andy. And that looks like it was your 10-month subscription. Thank you so much for that. From Queen's grateful for community support. I'm grateful for your presence here. Thank you so much for that subscription. Just so you know, folks, if you have Amazon, you can subscribe for free, meaning you can support the channel for no money. They give us money. You pay no money. Amazon Prime, I think. Okay, so that would be so weird to do a thing where we're super duper tiny. That's so interesting. What would that... Oh, so that tends to cut through the sense of the body as the self. So maybe we'll do that. It'll be like a non-self micro... Yeah, like a self-inquiry practice. That's pretty weird. That's one of the weirdest requests we've had in a while, so I think that's probably where we're going to go. Anything else we need to add to that? Because I think usually someone gives something weird and someone adds something totally different, and now we're in like very weird, inventive territory. Anything else, folks? Anything else before we jump right in? Okay, so folks, find that nice comfortable position where you can be still for the duration of the sit. Decide now, how long are you going to stay for the meditation? If you wait to decide till later, once that veterinarian calls me in the middle of the meditation, you are going to leave. So do not worry. If you decide now and forever hold your pizza. Oh, folks, I have a new video on sleepiness, on breaking through sleepiness, coming out real soon, and it is a banger. So I'm more proud of this video than I've been of any in a long time. It's a good video. Okay, so folks, find that nice comfortable position. And who should we beep up? Okay, oh wait, I missed Alex's thing. I'm curious about the dreamlike nature of waking reality and the realistic nature of dreams. Yeah, that's a good one. That gets into really interesting territory because I feel like, with certain short-acting tryptamines, such as NN-DMT, they say that the experience is hyper real. It's like blisteringly real. And this, you can get through this in meditation, but it's like higher definition than your usual visual world. And so there's this question of which one is more real, which one is actually the one you're referring to, and which one is the dream life. And that's like a classic is it epistemological question. Dreamlike. How the hell would I do that in a meditation? Okay, maybe these two mix really well. Thanks for saying that. Alex's dream. I know that's the thing I'm trying to think of. How do you add those two together? So okay. In each of those cases, the dreamlike quality of being awake and the awake quality of being in dreams, the solidity factor is assessing this moment and assessing whether this moment is real or not real, and assessing like how much to rely on the experiential data from this particular moment. So the present moment is the thing that cuts across both of those, and the ability to detect what is occurring at any given time. The weird thing is if you just attend to your own personal experience at any given time, it breaks apart the sort of real solid quality of that. So I think that I might not go into the instruction about what you're describing, Alex, but I'll give you the instruction now, which is to just notice the sense of this feeling like the truth, because that's typically something that happens with our present moment experience. The mind says, well, this is the truth. And we have to refer to other things to say, well, maybe this isn't the truth if I compare it to something else. But in both of those cases, consciousness is present too. I feel like there's a real area for me to explore around what is actually just consciousness itself. I talk about awareness a lot, but consciousness, the actual on switch, I think that's something really interesting. Maybe I'll explore that. Okay, I'm going to do my best. I'm not sure if I can get to the microcosm dream stuff like a good psychedelic band. You never know. I excuse inconsistency with as creativity. Okay, folks, find that nice, comfortable position. When you're ready, we'll begin. But actually, hello, Dave. We're going to wait until Alex is ready. Alex, when you're ready, let us know, and then we will begin. Okay. That's cool. Thank you. That's not that you're ready. So we'll just wait one more. Wait, just a couple more. Okay, here we go. Let's begin. Beginning by taking a few comfortable deep breaths. And just feeling the body rise and fall. Each time we begin a meditation, we begin with the momentum of all of the previous moments. So taking a moment to observe the result of the trillions of previous moments that made this moment possible. Not thinking about the past, but looking at the result of all of those causes and effects flooding out into the experience of this particular moment. Each moment we arrive in has certain qualities. There's a way in which this moment can feel unique. There's a way in which this moment can feel extremely familiar. We might have the speed of this particular moment, the mind's apprehension, refresh rate. So as we observe the body physically relaxing, also noticing this quality, this particular moment spilling out with all of its nuance. And I'm going to encourage you to try to stay right at the edge of this moment appearing. In some traditions, this can be called a sealing practice, meaning we are sealing material as it enters consciousness, as though it were a flood of water coming in. We're sealing that flood as soon as it enters consciousness. So rest right there at the edge of material entering this particular moment. And resting in this. And sweeping through the body to be sure we're not holding any undue tension. We're going to start at the top of the head, make our way down to the feet, bit by bit, going at your own pace and sealing these sensations as you move through. And what I'm going to have us do is, as we stay very closely in touch with this particular moment, I'm going to have us begin to play with scale. And in particular, the scale of our body and the scale of our perceiving apparatus. So we often experience our body and the way we perceive as paired together. So go ahead and take in the body as though, in fact, we were giant. We were mistaken before when we thought we were an ordinary size. We are 100 feet tall in this moment. These are giant sensations. These are the scale of a deity. Notice that our sense of self, our sense of identity grows along with this. It feels like we ourselves are this size. And even if this is just a flicker in the mind, not a solid sense of ourselves being so large, just noticing that. Noticing how we can just give this little piece of instruction and our reality shifts in this way. Taking in this particular moment, precisely at the moment it arises, as a human being that is in fact the scale of a deity, not a human at all. These sensations, this breath, this gravity, these are the sensations of a giant, godlike being. Now shifting the scale back to human size, our ordinary sense of scale. Watching this appear in this particular moment. And now we're going to do something a little strange. So you can expect this will be either a little challenging, or the effects it might have on your experience can be odd. But I'd like you to consider that your experience is extremely small. That you yourself, your experience of you, actually is very tiny. Now, of course, from your perspective, like a mouse, you're the whole normal size of a body. But as you take in your environment, recognizing that you yourself are effectively microscopic, not even small like a mouse. A mouse would be the size of a galaxy compared to the size we're referring to. And this size isn't really something we can imagine. We can refer to it, we can think about it, but we have a very hard time feeling like we could embody that size. So we'll actually need for our sense of size to sort of disappear. We're so small that our sense of size in relation to anything just has to fade away, become more transparent. And because there's a kind of conflict, the mind wants to think of the body as being the size of some object, even if it was the size of a mouse. It's helpful to go to the point of consciousness, the point where we experience the observer. Often this is experienced as somewhere in the chest or somewhere behind the eyes. And to some degree, we have to give up our sense of the outside world in proportion. Really letting ourselves come into the center of that sense of self, or sense of the observer. Letting that single point collapse down on itself. The observer is this tiny particle, not this enormous body. And so everyone's experience will be different. This is an experiment, so letting it be experimental, it'll be different for you than it might be for me. Can we find that pinpoint that is the observer, appearing in this precise moment? And if this feels difficult or confusing, disorienting, that's good. This means we are rewriting neural pathways. And remember, the point of this meditation is not to make ourselves tiny. That'd be funny if that was the goal. The point is to notice that our system is automatically, without our effort, producing a sense of scale, which is not as consistent or solid as we tend to think it is. It's a relative size. So it can be helpful to recognize our relative size. If you compare the size of our sun even to the galaxy, it's the same proportion, similar proportion as ourselves to an atom. Our solar system to the universe has a similar proportion. The size of our sense of self. Compared to the planet, again, a similar proportion. So we can imagine these, but when we take them on as an identity, what is my size? You might notice these scale experiences begin to fluctuate. And you take in all these variety of scales. It's confusing. It's hard to hold all that material in the mind. It's hard to hold the sense of ourselves next to the earth next to the unbelievably large sun, the sun next to the impossibly large galaxy. So letting that distortion enter into our experience, letting it penetrate our sense of self, sense of the observer. This is by its nature disorienting, yes. Recognizing that flavor of disorientation, of size, of presence, of solidity, and moving in that direction. Beginning to observe that even our solid sense of having a body is far more ethereal than we tend to think that it is. Notice at this moment you have sensations of a body, but not sensations everywhere that you have a body. In other words, you have bits and pieces of data and the mind puts it together as a body, but actually there is this kind of ethereal, spacious quality if we actually track what we can sense versus what feels like it has no sense data. If we don't observe carefully, it can often seem like our story, our narrative of self, is very solid. I've been me since birth, of course. But if we let this story in this particular moment, see how is it appearing as soon as it comes into consciousness? How do we know that there's this story in the sense of self? Allowing awareness to pass right through that material as it arises, we recognize that the resolution, the solidity of that story breaks down. There's our emotional narrative, not so much the words or events that occurred, but our sense of our emotional self. My story of difficulty and challenge and joy and surprise. That's another kind of self-narrative that exists. So seeing that in this exact moment. If we look at it closely enough, as soon as it appears, it just begins to atomize, vaporize. Even our sense of space and time are equally as flexible or unstable. And I want you to imagine that you're just now experiencing falling asleep. And as you do that, that sense that you're now slipping into unconsciousness, if they are not already, allow the eyes to begin to open, eventually letting them rest on a single point. This is the dream. Taking a moment to allow yourself to look around the vividness of this dream. Again, this is the tendency of the mind to give us a set of information. Typically we'd experience this moment as real, but just notice that that is also a structure of the mind. As you begin to let yourself stretch, recognizing this particular moment as one within a dream. And there'll be a conflict, of course. The mind will say, no, that's not what this is, and that's fine. We're just observing that. Another category in which the mind will say things are continuous and solid. The experience of reality itself. Allowing that disorientation. Recognizing that all of this material, the disorientation, the solidity, this is all part of the fabric of our ordinary daily lives. And in this way, letting this particular moment be the great teacher. It shows us how we might bring this practice into every aspect of our life. Okay. All right, folks. What was that like? What happened? What do you like now? Welcome, first-time viewer. Folks, we have a first-time viewer here. Anyone who's been on the stream for any amount of time knows what everyone does here on the stream when we have a first-time viewer. Every time, like a machine, every person who is familiar with this, exactly, everyone who's familiar with this stream knows what we have to do. Welcome here for your first time. I'm going to try to pronounce this right. Shatranj. Ka. Is that an F? I can't see the screen. Ka. Is that an F or an L? Kahal. 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 Kal. Khiladi. Khiladi. Shatranj Khiladi. No, Shatranj Ka Khiladi. Maybe Shatranj Shatranj. I'm sorry. Welcome. We welcome you. Give me if you have a pronunciation key, hit me in the chat. I'd like to know how to pronounce that. Okay, folks, that was a very weird and fun meditation. Hopefully everyone enjoyed that. I love all these emojis. Can I just cut and paste all of them? I don't know if I can do that in the chat. Ha! I just cut and pasted everyone's emojis and pasted them back in. Okay, folks, hit me with what that was like, what happened, what you're like now. We're going to be lightning round, so hit me with your best report, and we'll go from there. Beep, 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 beep. And welcome. Anyone here is new. Anyone who's lurking, afraid to say hello in the chat, no problem. We get it. Life is scary. Folks, all right. Let's talk about what happened in your meditation. I gotta check the time. I gotta go real soon. Let's see. Okay, I should go real soon. So hit me with those reports real quick. What happened? What was it like, and what do you like now? Cat Letterbox says, thank you, that was great. I'm glad it was great. It was super weird. It's a lot of fun. Pulverizing, exactly. It was very pulverizing. Hopefully in a fun and enjoyable way, not in a bully in the playground kind of way. What else, folks? Beep, 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 beep. Hit me with what you got, and we'll go from there. I'm really excited about this trip, although it's so multifaceted. I'm really it's like I'm flying to Sacramento, then I'm driving to Nevada City, then I'm driving, and I'm there for 4 hours in which I have to inspect the retreat center and make maps of all the places and blah blah blah. Then I have to zip back to I was going to say Sacramento, then up to, and then I go to someplace in the Bay Area for 3 days, and then I go to Portland for 1 day, back to the Bay Area, see my family, back to New York. And it's and the layers of complicatedness that are in that are multifaceted. Okay. Alex says the following.
Very fun and fascinating. Inspired mini bunny trails of contemplation. I noticed when I was giant, the sensations of the body became prominent. Then when I was micro, the body faded to the background and I was just a point of consciousness. It was weird to me. The observer felt like it was my throat. Weird black hole of gravity there.
Yeah, and look, if that's the case, look for old emotion there. Often we'll have a sense that ourselves, this is what's really interesting, ourselves are the emotion that is this like old, somatically held emotion. That's who I am. And what's happening there is that part that is the old emotion that is feeling that pain is moving into the seat of consciousness saying, I am that one. I'm the one true one. So that's the general breakdown. What else? Hit me with those reports. I didn't expect it, but I was excited at the end. We could bring in the like kind of literal dream stuff. That was fun. So it's funny, I think about it. So when I was in art school, so my background, if you don't know, I went to school for making sculpture, making conceptual art, sculpture, that kind of thing. And when I say sculpture, people think I'm there with like a hammer and chisel. I remember I like went with a blind man named Tony to the mall, and he bought himself a set of clothing, and I bought an identical set of clothing in my size, and then went to a club and danced in this blind person's clothing. Like, that's what I was doing. So the point of it all is that, so I went to school for art, and so I always was bummed that an artwork couldn't function like a piece of jazz music, because it's like, it's one thing, especially like an object. It's like, it's one thing and it never changes. And it's always like, how do you make an artwork that just never stops changing it? Or you can like present the artwork over and over again, and each time it is different. That was like really a massive interest to me. And I just feel so lucky today that that's how it is for me. Like, I get to play like crazy music, and it's really, really fun. Lots of fun. So that is the general breakdown. Okay, Andy, just Andy. I don't think it's just Andy. I think it's Andy. You're more than just Andy to me. Says,
that was a very fun and interesting session. There was a lot of see and feel inflow when I was large, like the size of a planet, and then microscopic, like the size of a photon light. The patterns of our reality from earthly objects scaling to the universe's scale. This session relates to a lot of what I've been working on in relation to how we are just a child as human species. Noticed I was analyzing my thoughts a lot, so I then zoomed back out to your guidance and simply enjoyed tour.
Nice. Enjoy the tour that you were giving us. Lovely. So much fun. Alex says,
oh yes, the end was awesome. Reminds me of one way to elicit lucid dreams, to go around and say, this is a dream, all day.
Is that true? I didn't know that helps with lucid dreaming. Yeah. I think that there's some factor in experience that says this is real, right? And like, this is the real version. And it all happens with versions of self, like some self takes over, and it's like the one that's sad or depressed, and it's like, this is the real one. This is the one this is how reality really works. And no other reality is real. I'm the sad one, and everything is sad and always has been and always will be. And then that one disappears, and our sort of usual self comes back, and we're like, or not usual self, one of our sort of operating main selves, let's say. And that one's like, no, I'm the real one. That sad one was just a blip. It just happens sometimes, but it's not a big deal. But I'm the real one, and I'm always here, and I'm pretty consistent. I've always been here, and I always will be here. And it's like, well, you're just saying the same thing, but your interpretation is different. So any view is saying, like, this is the real one. So our mind tends to do that with things, and I wonder why. It does do that with dreams, though. It's just that when we remember the dreams, I think there's an interesting thing with dreams occurring, and there's like some memory piece missing, and we're not actually experiencing the dream is sort of happening, but we're confused, and we're certain it's real. It's like, oh no, I got to get the pizza. It's caught in the wind, or whatever we're doing. So to recognize that it's a dream, what happens? Anyway, it's very fascinating. Okay. Excellent. Those were good reports. I want to say those are really good. I really appreciate so much people telling me what happened in their experience. It is such an agony as a teacher, where you go out and you teach to a big room of people, and you're like, cool, okay, folks, like, hit me with what your experience was like. And the self-consciousness is too high for people to say, well, I was tired, and then this happened, and people don't have the language. And you're like, guys, literally you could have all been on your phones the whole time for all I know, although I do peek and I do look around during the class because you can tell what's going on for people by their body. And I'm like, say the words, folks. What happened? What occurred? What was your experience? And I really appreciate when people give their reports. It's really helpful. Lucid dreams and waking induced lucid dreams, aka astral traveling, is very surreal, very fun. Oh, here we go.
Oh, for Airbnb, maybe Northwest 23rd area, or near Division Street in SE or North Lake, Alberta, Mississippi.
Somebody else said Alberta.
Just maybe steer clear of the middle of the city like downtown or central east side.
Okay, I'll steer clear. So you never know, because you go onto Airbnb or something like that, and you're like, oh, this place looks like there's a lot of activity there. And then you rent a thing, and you're like, ooh. I'm sending your note to me. There we go. Cha-ching. Folks, what a lovely day to be here with you. Any last comments, questions, or anything like that? Nope. Okay, folks, lovely to be here with you as always. Folks, who can do the math here? Let's see. I can do the math. Let's see. Folks, we're going to be back here, right back here, to meditate live together in fewer than 240 hours. No big deal. But, excuse me, we will have replays. We're going to have replays on Monday. If you have a specific replay you want to do, a specific meditation that we've done in the last month or so, because the replays can only be from the last month, hit send Naz a comment or a note on Discord, and they'll play those, or you can put it in the chat right now. Thank you. I will have safe travels. Save travels. So what's the point of it all? We'll be back here meditating, and even during the replays, you guys can chat with each other. So that's real and that's live. So folks, lovely to be here with you as always. Let's go to some outro music. Hear those jams. Re-engage with that sense of what is producing this particular reality experientially. One good way to do that we didn't really get into is just feeling the body as a body, or feeling the body as sensation rather than a body. Feeling the body and its sensations as just raw data rather than a thing in space. More of a push and pull of energy than it is a thing to be navigated. And in this way, we can let this particular moment be the great teacher that shows us how to bring this practice into every aspect of our life. Folks, as always, practice well, take care of each other, have fun, and we'll see you all very, very soon. Bye.